Part 1. Captain Amanda Brooks stood in the ancient ruins, feeling the wind blow through her pointed ears. The dig site on Kepler 7 had been quiet for months, but today something felt different. Her team of archaeologists worked carefully around the strange crystal formations that covered the underground chamber. The ruins were older than any civilization in the galaxy. Records showed they belonged to a race called the Drakmori, who had vanished millions of years ago. Amanda ran her fingers along the smooth walls covered in symbols that no computer could translate. The crystals pulsed with a soft blue light that seemed to respond to her touch. Her research partner, Dr. Kelly Martinez, called out from across the chamber. She had found something, buried beneath a collapsed section of wall. Amanda hurried over to see what Kelly had discovered. It was a small metallic egg about the size of a football covered in the same symbols as the walls. The egg was warm to the touch and seemed to vibrate, slightly. Amanda lifted it carefully, feeling a strange tingling sensation run through her arms. Kelly scanned it with her equipment, but the readings made no sense. The metal was unknown, and the energy patterns were unlike anything in their databases back. At base camp, Amanda placed the egg in a secure container but found herself drawn to check on it every few hours. That night, she woke to find the container glowing. The egg had cracked, and something small was moving inside. She opened the container, slowly, not knowing what to expect. A tiny dragon emerged, no bigger than a house cat. Its scales were deep purple and its eyes glowed like stars. The little creature looked up at Amanda and made a soft, chirping sound. She reached out her hand and the dragon climbed onto her palm without fear. Amanda felt a sudden rush of images and emotions flood her mind. She saw vast space battles and ancient worlds burning. She felt the dragon loneliness and its hope for companionship. The connection between them formed instantly and permanently. They were bonded now in a way that went beyond simple friendship. She named the dragon Nova because of its star-bright eyes. Nova could speak, but not with words. The communication happened directly through their mental link. Amanda learned that Nova was one of the last of her kind waiting in stasis for someone worthy to wake her. The next morning, Kelly found Amanda talking to empty air until she noticed the small dragon perched on Amanda's shoulder. Kelly stared in amazement as Amanda explained what had happened. Nova regarded Kelly with intelligent eyes, but showed no interest in bonding with her. Dragons chose their partners carefully. Word spread quickly through the archaeological community about Amanda's discovery. The Galactic Council sent investigators who demanded the dragon be turned over for study. Amanda refused, knowing instinctively that separating from Nova would harm them both. The council agents left angry, promising this was not. Nova began to grow slowly at first, then faster each day. Within a week, she was the size of a large dog. Within a month, she could carry Amanda on her back for short flights. The dragon intelligence was vast, containing knowledge from the ancient Drakmori civilization through Nova memories. Amanda learned the truth about the galaxy past. The Drakmori had been warriors and protectors, fighting against threats that would have destroyed all life. They had bonded with dragons in the same way, creating an unbeatable partnership of magic and strategy. The Drakmori had not vanished. They had gone into hiding when a great evil was defeated. Their dragons went into stasis, waiting for new partners from worthy species. Most species in the galaxy lacked the right combination of traits needed for bonding. Only a few races had the potential. Humans were one of those races. Amanda realized this was why the Galactic Council feared humanity so much. They sensed something dangerous about humans, but could not identify what it was. The potential for dragon bonding was written into human genetics waiting to be awakened. Nova showed Amanda images of other sites across the galaxy where dragon eggs lay waiting. Each site was hidden and protected by ancient technology that would only activate for potential partners. Amanda knew she had to find these sites before others did. The political situation in the galaxy was growing tense. The Zephyrian Empire had been pushing for restrictions on human expansion, claiming humans were too aggressive and unpredictable. Other council members were starting to agree. Anti-human sentiment was rising across many worlds. Amanda received an encrypted message from Earth Command. They had detected unusual military movements throughout the galaxy. Multiple alien fleets were gathering in secret locations. Intelligence suggested a coordinated attack on human settlements was being planned. She looked at Nova, who had grown large enough to ride comfortably. The dragon Violet. Eyes held ancient wisdom and terrible power. Amanda knew their peaceful archaeological mission was about to become something much more dangerous. The galaxy thought it understood war, but it had never seen dragons fight alongside humans. Nova projected images of the coming conflict into Amanda's mind. She saw human ships working with dragons in perfect coordination. She saw alien fleets burning in space and worlds surrendering rather than face the fury of awakened dragons. The galaxy was about to learn a lesson. It would never forget. Amanda packed her equipment and prepared to leave Kepler-7. Behind them, the ruins stood empty again, but their secret had been revealed. The first dragon-human bond in millions of years had been formed, and soon others would follow. The Age of Dragons was returning to the galaxy as their ship lifted off toward the stars. Amanda felt Nova excitement through their bond. They had work to do, and a war to prevent, or if prevention failed, a war to win. The galaxy claimed to know war until humanity showed the truth. Part 2 Captain Sarah Wilson received Amanda's encrypted message while conducting mineral surveys in the Vega system. The archaeological discovery seemed impossible until Amanda transmitted images of her dragon companion Sarah, stared at the hologram of Nova in disbelief, knowing this changed everything. Sarah had always felt different from other humans. She could sense things others missed, and often knew when ships approached before sensors detected them. Her pointed ears marked her as one of the rare human variants with enhanced abilities. Now she understood why these traits existed. Following Amanda's coordinates, Sarah redirected her mining ship toward a dead moon in the outer system. Ancient structures lay buried beneath kilometers of ice exactly where Amanda's data indicated. The excavation took 3 days using industrial drilling equipment designed for asteroid mining. The chamber Sarah found was larger than Amanda's site and contained 12 crystal eggs arranged in a perfect circle. Each egg pulsed with different colored light responding to her presence. Sarah approached the center of the circle and felt energy building around her. One egg began to crack faster than the others. A silver dragon emerged, spreading tiny wings. And calling out in a voice like crystal bells, Sarah knelt down and the dragon flew directly to her shoulder. The bonding happened instantly, filling Sarah's mind with ancient memories and dragon wisdom. She named her dragon Echo because of the way their thoughts resonated together. Echo was different from Nova, more focused on strategy and planning, where Nova excelled at direct action. Together they represented complementary aspects of dragon nature. The other eggs remained dormant, waiting. For different humans, Sarah carefully documented their locations and sent the information to Amanda. They agreed to keep the discovery secret until they could locate other potential dragon partners among the human population. Meanwhile, the political situation continued to deteriorate. The Zephyrian Empire had convinced 3 other major civilizations to support restrictions on human expansion. Embargo ships began stopping human vessels at random, searching for weapons or contraband that was never found. Commander Lisa Thompson commanded a patrol ship near the frontier when Zephyrian forces intercepted her vessel. They boarded without permission, claiming authority under new council regulations. Lisa watched helplessly as alien soldiers searched her ship looking for any excuse to confiscate it. That night, Lisa received a message from an unknown sender containing coordinates and a single word: dragons. Lisa had heard rumors about archaeological discoveries, but dismissed them as fantasy. Now she wondered if the rumors might be true. 3 days later, Lisa stood in ruins on a forgotten world, watching a golden dragon hatch from an egg that seemed to have waited specifically for her. The dragon was larger than the others and radiated confidence and power. Lisa felt the bond form and knew her life had changed forever. She named her dragon Blaze for the fire that burned in both their hearts. Blaze showed Lisa visions of ancient battles where dragons and their partners had protected entire star systems from invasion. The power they shared was beyond anything in current military arsenals. Word began to spread quietly through human space about the dragon discoveries. Each new bonding created a network of connected minds that could communicate across vast distances without detection. The dragons were building something, preparing for what was coming, Admiral Jennifer Kane was attending a council session on the capital world when she felt the first dragon call. She made an excuse and left early, following coordinates that appeared in her mind to ruins hidden beneath the city itself. Her dragon was pure white, with eyes like ice and wisdom that spanned eons. The dragon bondings were accelerating now, as if some cosmic clock was counting down. Amanda realized the ancient Drakmori had designed this awakening to happen when their successors were most needed. The galaxy was approaching a crisis that would require dragon intervention. Intelligence reports confirmed the worst. Fears multiple alien fleets were gathering at secret locations throughout the galaxy. The attack would come simultaneously at dozens of human worlds, overwhelming any conventional defense. Humanity faced extinction, but humanity was no longer conventional. The dragon-bonded humans numbered in the hundreds now, and each day brought new awakenings. Ships that had never seen combat were suddenly commanded by officers with access to millions of years of tactical knowledge. The dragons remembered every war their people had fought. They knew the weaknesses of every alien species and the counter to every known weapon system. The Galactic Council thought they were planning to eliminate a primitive threat. They had no idea they were about to face. Their ancient protectors, Nova, had grown large enough to carry Amanda and 3 passengers through hyperspace without a ship. Dragonflight was faster and more maneuverable than any technology the galaxy possessed. They could appear anywhere without warning and vanish just as quickly. Echo showed Sarah how to merge dragon magic with human technology, creating hybrid weapons that exceeded the capabilities of either alone. Mining lasers became plasma cannons that could cut through any known armor. Navigation computers became tactical networks that predicted enemy movements. Blaze taught Lisa combat techniques that combined dragon fire with human strategy. Ships could fight like living creatures using instinct and adaptation instead of rigid programming. Enemy computers could not calculate responses to tactics that changed based on emotion and intuition. The dragons were preparing their human partners for a type of warfare the galaxy had never seen. Conventional military doctrine would be useless against opponents who fought with both advanced technology and ancient magic, working in perfect harmony. Messages began reaching human settlements, warning of imminent attack. The warnings came through official channels, but also through the growing dragon network that connected bonded humans across space. Every dragon pair could sense the approaching danger. Admiral Kane used her position on the council to gather intelligence about enemy fleet movements. She discovered the attack would begin in 72 hours at exactly the same time across multiple systems. The aliens intended to prevent any human world from sending aid to another, but they had not accounted for dragon travel or the shared consciousness that linked all bonded pairs. When the attack came, humanity would be ready in ways the galaxy could not imagine. The Age of Dragons was returning, and with it, a new definition of what war could be. The countdown had begun, and across human space, dragons and their partners prepared to show the galaxy that some bonds transcended death itself. The ancient protectors were awakening, and their fury would shake the stars. Part 3. The attack began at dawn across 17 human worlds simultaneously. Just as Admiral Kane had predicted, the alien fleet struck without warning, expecting to find helpless colonies defended only by patrol ships. Instead, they found something the galaxy had never seen before. Captain Rebecca Foster was defending the mining colony on Titan Prime when the first enemy ships appeared. Her Dragon Frost had grown to full size overnight, as if sensing the coming battle. Together they rose from the planet's surface to meet ships that outnumbered them. 50-1, Frost breathed ice that froze enemy missiles in space, turning them into harmless chunks of metal. Rebecca flew her dragon through the alien formation using maneuvers impossible for any spacecraft. They moved like living lightning, striking and vanishing before enemy gunners could track them. On Earth, orbital defense platforms fired conventional weapons while dragons carried their partners between enemy ships. Dragonfire melted through armor that had never been penetrated. Dragon magic disrupted energy shields that were supposed to be impenetrable. Commander Michelle Torres watched from her command center as dragons appeared throughout the solar system. Each one carried a human partner and fought with tactics that seemed to come from pure instinct. Her dragon storm had remained small, preferring to coordinate battles rather than fight directly. Through storm, Michelle could see every battle happening across human space. She watched Amanda and Nova destroy an entire Zephyrian battle group using coordinated strikes that looked like an elaborate dance. She saw Sarah and Echo disable a space station by overloading its power systems with dragon lightning. The alien commanders were panicking. Their carefully planned simultaneous attack was falling apart as human defenders demonstrated capabilities that appeared nowhere in intelligence reports. Ships that should have been easy targets were fighting back, with weapons that defied known physics. Admiral Kane remained at the council chambers on the capital world, pretending to be shocked by reports of the attacks. Her white dragon glacier was hidden in the ruins beneath the city, waiting for the signal to reveal themselves. The council members were celebrating what they thought was humanity, final defeat, but the celebration was premature. Reports began reaching the capital that human settlements were not falling as expected. Instead, alien fleets were being systematically destroyed by unknown forces. The council demanded explanations from their military commanders who had no answers to give on the frontier world of New Texas. Captain Amy Rodriguez led a squadron of dragon riders in the first large-scale aerial battle fought in over 1,000,000 years. Her dragon phoenix blazed like a star as they dove through formations of enemy fighters that had never faced opponents who could maneuver in 3 dimensions without restriction. The dragons were remembering skills they had not used since the Drakmori Wars. They fought as a unified force, sharing information instantaneously across impossible distances. Every dragon pair knew what every other pair was doing, creating coordination that seemed almost supernatural. Dr. Kelly Martinez had found her own dragon on a research station near Jupiter. Her dragon sage was smaller than most, but possessed incredible analytical abilities. Together, they disrupted enemy communications by predicting and jamming their frequencies before orders could be transmitted. The tide of battle was turning faster than anyone had expected. Alien fleets that should have achieved easy victories were instead retreating in confusion. Some ships surrendered rather than face the fury of creatures they could not understand or effectively fight. Captain Jennifer Walsh commanded the defense of Mars colony with her Dragon Thunder. They had perfected a technique of using dragon electricity to overload enemy ship. Computers from the inside enemy vessels would suddenly lose all power and drift helplessly in space. The Galactic Council was receiving frantic messages from fleet commanders reporting impossible things. Ships destroyed by creatures breathing fire, in vacuum weapons that passed through solid matter, energy shields failing against attacks that seemed to be made of pure magic. Admiral Kane knew it was time to reveal the truth. She stood before the council chamber as Glacier emerged from the hidden ruins below. The massive white dragon coiled around the building, while Kane addressed the assembled representatives of 12 alien civilizations. She explained the return of the dragons and the ancient bond between humans and the Drakmori successors. The council had declared war on humanity, not knowing they were attacking the chosen partners of the galaxy, most powerful guardians. The result was inevitable. Some council members called for immediate surrender, while others demanded continued fighting. They had not yet grasped the full scope of what they faced. The dragons were not just powerful weapons. They were intelligent beings with their own agenda for galactic peace. On distant battlefields, human dragon pairs were demonstrating new forms of warfare that combined technology with magic in ways no military academy had ever taught. Conventional tactics were useless against opponents who could phase through solid matter or breathe weapons that ignored energy defenses. The war was far from over, but the balance had shifted dramatically. The galaxy had expected to eliminate a troublesome species. Instead, they had awakened something ancient and terrible. The dragons were back, and they remembered every species that had ever threatened the peace they had died to protect. Captain Diana Moore flew reconnaissance missions with her Dragon Scout, gathering intelligence on enemy fleet movements. They could travel faster than any ship and remain invisible to sensors by using dragon magic that bent light around them. The information they gathered revealed the true scope of the alien conspiracy. Nearly half the galaxy had participated in planning humanity destruction. They had spent years preparing for this moment, believing they were Preventing a future threat, instead they had created the very war they feared. As news of the failed attack spread, some alien worlds began declaring neutrality rather than face dragon retaliation. Others joined the fight, hoping to share in what they still believed would be ultimate victory. They could not accept that their overwhelming numerical advantage meant nothing against opponents who fought with power beyond their understanding. The dragons were patient. They had waited millions of years for worthy partners, and they were prepared to wait longer for peace. But their patience had limits, and the galaxy was testing those limits with every attack on human worlds. The storm was just beginning, and the thunder would shake every star. Part 4. The second wave of attacks came 3 weeks later, when the Galactic Alliance realized their first assault had failed completely. Admiral Corvex commanded a fleet of 2,000 ships from 15 different species determined to crush humanity and their mysterious allies before they could grow stronger. Captain Nicole Harper stood on the bridge of her destroyer, watching the massive enemy fleet approach through hyperspace. Her Dragon Void was one of the largest yet discovered, with scales so dark they seemed to absorb light itself. Together they had destroyed 6 enemy ships in the first battle. The Dragon Network connected every human-dragon pair across the galaxy, creating a unified command structure that operated faster than any computer system. Admiral Kane coordinated the overall strategy, while individual captains led tactical operations in their assigned sectors. Commander Patricia Bell had discovered something remarkable during the fighting. Her Dragon Crystal could manipulate energy in ways that turned enemy weapons against their own ships. Plasma bolts redirected back at their sources. Ion cannons overloaded by reflected power. Enemy fleets found themselves under fire from their own weapons. The aliens had tried to adapt their tactics, but adaptation was impossible against opponents who changed their approach based on intuition rather than programming. Dragon magic followed no scientific laws that could be studied or countered. Every engagement brought new surprises on the fortress world of Gibraltar Station. Captain Robin Hayes led the defense with her Dragon Comet. They had perfected hit-and-run tactics that struck deep behind enemy lines before vanishing into hyperspace. Dragon teleportation allowed instant travel between any points in the galaxy. The battle for Gibraltar lasted 18 hours as wave after wave of enemy ships attempted to break through the defenses. Each attack was met by dragon riders who appeared from nowhere, struck with devastating force, and disappeared before return fire could be targeted. Dr. Amanda Brooks had evolved beyond simple archaeology. Her bond with Nova had unlocked memories of Drakmori science that surpassed anything the current galaxy possessed. They were building new weapons that combined dragon magic with human engineering in impossible ways. The enemy fleets found themselves facing weapons that seemed to violate basic physics. Energy shields that redirected force back at attackers' missiles, that phased through armor to explode inside ship hulls. Beam weapons that followed targets through dimensional space. Captain Helen Price commanded a squadron of stealth fighters with her Dragon Shadow. They specialized in intelligence gathering and sabotage, appearing inside enemy flagships to disable critical systems before vanishing without trace. Entire fleets would suddenly lose communication or navigation. The psychological impact was devastating. Enemy crews began reporting ghost sightings and impossible attacks. Morale collapsed as soldiers faced opponents they could not see or understand. Some ships surrendered without firing a shot, rather than risk encountering the mysterious dragon riders. Admiral Corvex watched his carefully planned assault disintegrate into chaos. His technological superiority meant nothing against enemies who fought with magic. His numerical advantage was worthless when opponents could be everywhere at once. His strategic training was useless against tactics that changed faster than his computers could calculate. Commander Lisa Thompson had bonded with a dragon called Flame, who possessed the ancient knowledge of stellar engineering. Together, they began targeting enemy supply lines by manipulating the gravity of nearby stars. Enemy fleets would find themselves pulled into solar coronas or crushed by sudden gravitational waves. The war was spreading beyond military targets, as dragons remembered their role as guardians of all life, worlds that supported. The attack on humanity began experiencing mysterious disasters, industrial accidents that destroyed weapons factories, natural phenomena that disrupted communications, Captain Janet Foster led deep strike missions with her Dragon Spark into the heart of enemy territory. They could travel instantly between any points in space, carrying tactical nuclear devices that materialized inside enemy command centers. Entire military headquarters vanished in nuclear fire. The Galactic Council was fracturing. As member species began questioning the wisdom of fighting an enemy they could not defeat. Some aliens were secretly negotiating surrender, while others called for even more devastating weapons to be deployed against human worlds. But the dragons had anticipated this escalation. Long-buried weapons from the Drakmori Wars were awakening across the galaxy. Ancient defense systems that had slept for millions of years began responding to dragon commands. Entire star systems became forbidden, zones protected by technology beyond current understanding. Captain Mary Wright discovered she could communicate with these ancient systems through her dragon echo. The Drakmori had left safeguards against galactic war hidden throughout space, waiting for their successors to claim them. Weapons that could destroy fleets or protect planets were now under human control. The tide of war had turned so completely that some enemy species were actively switching sides rather than face total destruction. The dragons offered mercy to those who surrendered but showed no pity to those who continued fighting. Their ancient patience had been tested and found wanting. Admiral Kane revealed to the remaining council members that humanity had never wanted this war. The dragons had awakened to protect their chosen partners from extinction, but they preferred peace to endless conflict. The choice was surrender or face the full might of awakened Drakmori. Technology. Some alien leaders were smart enough to recognize when they had been beaten. The Vegan Republic declared immediate neutrality and withdrew all ships from human space. The Centauri Federation offered to mediate peace talks. Several smaller species began actively supporting human colonies, but the Core Alliance members led by the Zephyrian Empire refused to admit defeat. They had committed too much to this war, and their pride would not allow surrender. They began mobilizing every ship and weapon they possessed for one final desperate assault. The dragons sensed the coming storm and began preparing countermeasures that would end the war permanently. Ancient technologies were fully awakening, now systems that could reshape reality itself. The galaxy would learn why the Drakmori had been feared and respected by every previous civilization. Captain Barbara Lewis flew patrol missions with her dragon, Lance monitoring enemy fleet movements. They detected massive buildups of ships in 12 different systems. As the Alliance prepared for what they called the final solution, the aliens were planning to destroy every human world simultaneously. The Dragon Network pulsed with shared determination as hundreds of human-dragon pairs prepared for the ultimate battle. The enemy was bringing everything they had, but they still did not understand what they faced. The Age of Dragons had returned, and with it, powers that could reshape the galaxy itself. Part 5. The final battle began when Admiral Corvex led 50,000 ships from 23 species in a coordinated assault on Sol System itself. The Alien Alliance had committed every vessel they possessed to this last desperate attempt to destroy humanity before the dragon threat could spread further. Captain Rachel Adams watched the massive enemy fleet emerge from hyperspace around Earth. Her dragon celestial had grown beyond any previous size, becoming a creature of pure energy that could manipulate matter at the atomic level. Together they prepared to defend not just human worlds but the future of galactic civilization. The aliens had brought planet-killer weapons, believing they could destroy Earth before the dragons could react. They found instead that ancient defense systems had awakened throughout the solar system. Drakmori technology, older than any current civilization, began responding to dragon commands. Admiral Kane coordinated the defense from Luna Base, while her Dragon Glacier merged with the moon itself, becoming a living fortress that could reshape its surface at will. Enemy ships found themselves facing not just mobile opponents, but entire worlds that fought back. Captain Amanda Brooks and Nova had evolved beyond physical existence, becoming beings of pure thought and energy, who could appear anywhere in the galaxy instantly. They materialized inside the enemy flagship and began systematically destroying it from within, using powers that transcended known physics. The battle was unlike anything ever recorded in galactic history. Ships fought creatures made of starfire who could phase through solid matter at will. Weapons that could crack planets bounced harmlessly off dragon scales. Energy shields, designed to stop antimatter weapons, failed against ancient magic. Commander Sarah Wilson led a squadron of reality warpers with her dragon. Together they began altering the fundamental laws of physics in local space. Enemy ships found their weapons transformed into harmless light, their armor turned to paper, their computers filled with dragon dreams. The aliens were facing not just defeat, but the complete invalidation of everything they thought they knew about warfare. Their most advanced technology was useless against opponents who fought with powers from the dawn of time. Their greatest weapons were turned against them by beings who existed outside normal space. Captain Lisa Thompson and her Dragon Blaze had become avatars of stellar fire capable of igniting or extinguishing stars at will. Enemy fleets found themselves pulled into artificial supernovas created from captured solar wind. Enemy worlds experienced sudden ice ages as their suns were temporarily dampened. The Drakmori technology was fully awakened now, revealing why the ancient civilization had been able to maintain peace across the galaxy for millions of years. They had possessed powers that made conventional warfare obsolete. Any species that threatened others could be neutralized without destroying them. Admiral Korvex watched his dreams of galactic domination crumble as his ships were systematically dismantled by forces beyond his comprehension. Half his fleet had already surrendered rather than face annihilation. The other half was trapped in a gravity well created by dragons who had learned to manipulate spacetime itself. The dragon network pulsed with shared consciousness as every bonded pair contributed to the final solution. They were not just defending human worlds, but establishing a new order that would prevent such wars from ever happening again. The galaxy would have peace, whether it wanted it or not. Captain Michelle Torres commanded the final assault with her Dragon Storm. They had learned to exist in multiple dimensions, simultaneously striking at enemies who could not perceive where the attacks were coming from. Entire fleets simply vanished from normal space, never to return. The remaining council members on the capital world watched in horror as reports came in of impossible defeats, ships destroyed by gravity waves, planets moved from their orbits, fleets transported instantly to distant galaxies where they could never threaten anyone again. The war ended not with a negotiated surrender, but with the complete dissolution of the Galactic Alliance. Admiral Kane announced that dragons would now oversee galactic peace, preventing any future attempts at genocide or conquest. Species could govern themselves, but never again wage wars of extinction. Some aliens welcomed this protection, having grown tired of constant conflicts. Others resented the imposed peace, but lacked any power to resist it. The dragons made it clear that any species attempting warfare would find their technology mysteriously failing, and their leaders transported to peaceful worlds for re-education. Captain Nicole Harper established the first dragon embassy on the capital world, where alien diplomats could petition for disputes to be resolved peacefully. Her dragon void had become a living portal that could connect any points in space, making trade and communication instant between distant worlds. The galaxy entered a new age where conflicts were resolved through mediation. Rather than violence, the dragons proved to be fair judges who could see into the hearts of those who appeared before them. Lies were impossible, and hidden motives were revealed. Dr. Amanda Brooks founded the Institute for Dragon-Human Studies, where the ancient knowledge was preserved and shared with worthy students from all species. The secrets of the Drakmori were slowly being revealed, showing a path to a future where war itself could become obsolete. Captain Amy Rodriguez led exploration, missions to distant galaxies where other dragon eggs might be waiting. The universe was vast and full of wonders that could only be discovered in peace. The age of conquest was ending, and the age of exploration was beginning. The transformation was not immediate. Some species required years to abandon their warlike ways and embrace the new reality. But the dragons were patient and had all the time in the universe to guide the galaxy toward a better future. Earth became the unofficial capital of the new galactic order, where representatives from hundreds of worlds came to study human-dragon partnerships. The secret of the bonding process remained with the dragons, who chose their partners carefully from those who showed wisdom and compassion, admiral. Cain often stood in the council chambers that had once plotted humanity destruction, now transformed into a place where genuine peace was negotiated. She looked up at Glacier, who had grown beyond physical form, becoming a presence that could be felt throughout the building. The galaxy had claimed to know war until humanity showed them the truth. War was not about strength or technology, but about the bonds between living beings. The dragons had chosen humans, not because they were the strongest fighters, but because they were capable of the deepest friendships. In the end, it was not weapons that brought peace, but understanding. The ancient Drakmori had left their greatest gift, not in their technology, but in their wisdom that some things were more important than victory. The galaxy learned that lesson at last, and the stars shone brighter for it.